Good morning. This is Michael Passmore, the Senior Minister of Central Christian Church in downtown San Antonio. This video is being put together for sharing on the 22nd of November, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. The lectionary reading begins with these words. It is the parable of the great judgment of the sheep and the goats. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate them one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep at his right hand, but the goats at the left. Then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, O blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." And the righteous will then ask him, "When did we see you hungry or thirsty or sick and visit you?" And he will say, "As you'd have done it to the least of these, you've done it unto me." A parable of judgment. I'm not big on judgment, but I know that God is the righteous judge. The sheep at the right hand for the good things, the goats at the left hand for representing the inaction. Sheep and goats. "Come, O blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you." Judgment. I have to tell you that this parable does disturb me a little bit for a number of reasons. One of them was that one of my first I have as my own personal pet was a little goat. His name was Casper the Friendly Goat. I loved that little goat. When I lived in Wichita, Kansas as a small boy, I loved goats. I haven't had many sheep. I've seen many sheep. Why pick on the goats? Headstrong little animals, very similar in their looks. They're from the same grouping of bovine or bovine. It's interesting that sheep and goats would be distinguished so different from one another. At that scene of judgment, what would I be? A sheep? Or a goat? How about you? I could stand in front of the royal throne of judgment and say, "Hey, I've done a lot of those things. I've worked at the food bank. I've handed out sandwiches at the church door. I have more than once purchased a meal at Wendy's or McDonald's for the homeless person there. I've made sure of our clothing donations at the church. I have visited shut-in people," no longer the phrase to use, homebound people and those in the hospital. But I would also not always be that sheep at the right hand. There have been times when my compassion has run short. I'm not 100% sheep. I have turned some away. I have lied to others about how much money I had in my pocket. Am I a sheep or a goat or both? How about calling me a geep or a shote, part sinner and part saint? I'm kind of like you all, not always on target. I've been told in biology that if you crossbreed a sheep and a goat, the offspring are almost always stillborn. What about me? What about us? If I lived 100% of the time under the law, I'm a failure. I think I could hear the merciful Jesus say, "Hey, Passmore, you did okay for a shote." That seems to be the mercy and spirit of Jesus. But we have this parable of judgment, a forecast of things to come, a lifetime now for us to get ready to feed the hungry, be kind, be loving, make a positive difference in our world. Thank you for letting me share with you today.